Imagine for a moment you are a chef. You have a dish ordered frequently in your restaurant, and even though customers tell you it's delicious, full of flavor, and they thoroughly enjoyed their meal, you're not quite satisfied with it. You iterate on this same dish, changing the spices around, altering the time certain ingredients are cooked for, sometimes even changing key parts of the recipe, all in the pursuit of making something good into something great. Now also imagine your name is Atlas, and the dish is actually these games. You see what I did there? It was a metaphor. ReFantazio. Well, Chef Atlas, care to tell me what perhaps the most important change to your dish is?
Well, you see, in previous games from me, hanging out with a confidant, a social link, it did not guarantee you would rank them up. Now, however, I changed the link the meat was cooked, and voila! Now you are ensured to rank up your party members whenever you chill with them.
But seriously, for a game centered around time management, it's hard to fully articulate just how nice of a change it is to no longer fret over, oh, did I say the wrong thing in dialogue and now I won't have enough relationship points to rank my social links up the next time I hang out? It's just, yep, we hung out and you rank up. That's not to say the dialogue choices don't matter anymore. Choosing correctly gives you currency that makes you stronger, and oftentimes a good bit of it. So it strikes that nice balance between feeling rewarding for answering correctly, but not too harsh of a penalty for choosing wrong. It also means you can choose the silly dialogue option and not feel like you're wasting precious relationship points just for trying to be a goofy little guy. I can't really pin down one specific reason I don't like Atlas combat, but I just don't. In a game formula as beautifully refined upon as Atlas's, the combat just feels like it's missing that one little piece to really tie it all together. The elemental system makes the first encounter with a random group of enemies exciting. What are they weak to? What do they use? But 5 encounters in with the same enemy and you've given your entire team an attack with the element they're weak to, and you're just one-shotting the entire group. Fights eventually feel like the Great Marlborough from Final Fantasy X, except when you ambush, you get to be the Marlborough, and when you get ambushed, they're the Marlborough. This is made even worse when it comes to boss fights. A typical complaint against RPGs, usually turn-based, is that bosses aren't weak to status effects, so an entire aspect of the combat is just not available. A similar thing is sort of here with the element system. Bosses usually have one or no elements they're weak to, and the element system feels just as feast or famine as usual with the exception of like 2 boss fights where the system is played around with in an interesting way. The UI is still as snappy and polished as ever. Spamming the same 3 options in a fight has never felt nicer, and the press turn system making a return leads to a bit more strategy in fights that I'm a big fan of. I guess when it comes down to it, I like fights in turn-based games feeling like a big puzzle that you have to solve, and I just didn't get that feeling from a lot of the encounters in Metaphor. And also you can take the giant stone boulder that is insta-killing enemies you're stronger than and smash the lock open with grinding instead. Wow. Thrilling. Atlas works best when they tell their stories in a self-contained manner. No sequels or spin-offs, and oh boy does that shine through here. No spoiling, because I really want anyone who watches this to go play the game, but the themes presented are so tightly written I'm still thinking about them months later. Luis as a villain in particular is just literal chef's kiss with such an overwhelming presence he steals the entire show whenever he appears. He really strikes you as someone who could honestly convince your average person that he's on their side, and not vying for power just to fuel his own narcissistic ambitions and fuck over everyone he deems as unworthy. This game conveniently started development in 2016, by the way. Also, thank God a protagonist finally speaks and has a real, defined personality that's subtly influenced by your choices, instead of towing this strange line between Atlas wanting them to be real characters, but also a self-insert by keeping them as quiet as possible. Like, fuck man, look at this blue-haired little shit and tell me he doesn't mog Joker and Yu Narukami and okay, maybe we won't go that far. In my heart of hearts, he gets with the absolute best girl in this game, but we won't go there. I'm supposed to be, like, reviewing this game or something. Atlas also finally learned how to make a good mascot character, because I actually really love Gallica. She's quirky without being annoying, her voice...
First, we get to the royal capital, and get you enlisted as a guardsman at the army's recruitment center.
Does things to me, and she feels like a guiding force of the party without being too underdeveloped or feeling generally useless. Her design is awesome, and she has a genuine connection with both the player and the player character, which is hard to pull off. I love the little lore detail of her being the one to make the music for the group, especially since it implies she's a fucking musical genius, because holy shit, the music in this game. Golly, this series never misses when it comes to music. You get into a battle and these trumpets start blaring like, oh, okay, I see you, shit's getting real. Synths kind of going crazy in the back. We feel like we're straight up royalty fighting right now. Then this guy comes out of fucking nowhere just spitting absolute gibberish on the mic. Just, oh my god, I don't know how to explain it. It's just kicked ass. Then the music really hits its stride and this fucking choir starts chanting for you, and it's actual chills, man. This shit just makes me feel like I could fight literal gods. Then a boss fight happens and they bring the guy chanting back almost immediately, and he's going way harder than he was before. Like, he is seriously spitting his stuff, and then the choir backs him up again, and they're like the peanut butter to his jelly, and I am feeling it, man. And that's just for the combat. Not even mentioning Grand Trad's theme having this bombastic, regal opening with booming drums that's superseded by these low strings of violin that subtly represent the city's criminal undertones seeping into its identity. Or just the overall vibe of Virga's Island being the best song in the game. And these women chanting in the back, obviously giving it that tribal feeling. But it matches perfectly with Yufa being the best girl in the game. Metaphor is maybe the best game Atlas has ever put out, putting a unique spin on the fantasy genre while still injecting a little bit of their special sauce into the dish so you feel the cook's influence in every bite. While my gripes with the combat might feel a little too harsh, I just want to show how even the best dishes are never perfect. I had a lot of fun fighting in this game, so much so I ran back through again just to fight the boss that only shows up in a second run, did all the optional side bosses, etc. It's just, playing that much, any system will start to show its cracks and flaws, but a great, thought-provoking story and phenomenal soundtrack will never get old. If you're a fan of RPGs to any degree like I am, please give this game a shot. I give it 4 Gallicas out of 5.